Okay. So this is, yeah, awakening from the trance. Perhaps the biggest tragedy in our lives is that freedom is possible, yet we can pass our years trapped in the same old patterns. Entangled in the trance of unworthiness, we grow accustomed to caging ourselves in with self-judgment and anxiety, with restlessness and dissatisfaction. We grow incapable of accessing freedom and peace that are our birthright. We may want to love other people without holding back, to feel authentic, to breathe in the beauty around us, to dance and sing. Yet each day we listen to inner voices that keep our life small. Even if we were to win millions of dollars in the lottery or marry the perfect person, as long as we feel not good enough, we won't be able to enjoy the possibilities before us. However, we can learn to recognize when we are keeping ourselves trapped by our own beliefs and fears. We can see how we are wasting our precious lives. The way out of our cage begins with accepting absolutely everything about ourselves and our lives, by embracing with wakefulness and care our moment-to-moment experience. By accepting absolutely everything, what I mean is that we are aware of what is happening within our body and mind in any given moment without trying to control or judge or pull away. I do not mean that we are putting up with harmful behavior, our own or another's. This is an inner process of accepting our actual present moment experience. It means feeling sorry and pain without resisting. It means feeling desire or dislike for someone or something without judging ourselves for the feeling or being driven to act on it. Clearly recognizing what is happening inside us and regarding what we see with an open, kind, and loving heart is what I call radical acceptance. If we are holding back from any part of our experience, if our heart shuts out any part of who we are and what we feel, we are fueling the fears and feelings of separation that sustain the trance of unworthiness. Radical acceptance directly dismantles the very foundations of this trance.
I love this reading. I love,
So
you
good.
know, just where it says the way out of our cage begins by accepting absolutely everything about ourselves and our lives, you know, because so often we don't embrace ourselves, we don't accept because we're in our heads judging, right? Can you guys see that that's where the freedom comes through?
Mm-hmm. I do it a lot where I'll be like, especially like if I'm driving and I'm like, oh, that mother ever, or whatever, and and I'm like, oh, that's not very nice of me. Like, really, really, that's uncalled for. And I start judging myself. Maybe I should, maybe that is a valid time to do that. I don't
Well, if you're in self-love, you probably have more um compassion for others, but yourself for sure. Even your frustration, have compassion for it. Traffic's frustrating. Do you guys know that? I don't care who you are.
Yeah, it is.
It's frustrating. I mean, how do you stay in joy and be in traffic? I don't know. I haven't figured that one out. Maybe you guys know.
Sometimes I can just by listening to some really good music or an audiobook, and then I don't care. Whatever. They cut me off. I don't care. I need to do that more.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So do you guys the first part of it, do you feel that, the biggest tragedy in our lives is that freedom is possible, yet we can pass our years trapped in the same old patterns?
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our trapping ourselves, that's the important thing because it's like freedom is us not trapping ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, you guys? Because I feel like that, I mean, there's a lot of really good passages in this one, but that. that one is probably the primary one, is that the biggest tragedy in our lives is freedom is possible, yet we pass our lives trapped. You know,
Mm-hmm.
does anybody struggle with that?
Yeah, so an example for me happened over the last day, and I was actually two things really quick. Though I went to a concert last night and I caught myself kind of just judging people, watching people, I was people watching as the theater was filling. And then observed it. I paused or whatnot and I observed it, and I didn't cling to it, and I let it go, and I didn't judge myself at all because I feel like judging has some kind of biological innate thing. For some reason we do it. And so I let it go and also realized that we are all connected and we're interbeing and we need each other and there's a balance. And even though that person was like I was judging them for being probably politically different than me, etc. Like I was like, no, but we all are one. And so I've been practicing a lot with Buddhism and the five mindfulness trainings. And so the interbeing is a big word. And so I didn't I didn't shame myself. So I watched it and but the self-judgment happened when I'm actually have been having a really good time the last few days working on a logo for the new native California Native Bee Society. And we're gonna have we're gonna have a little judge and competition and see who, actually gets their logo to be used. And I was all happy about it, and I haven't done art in a while. And I was, I'm not, my background's not graphic design and I don't really have the computer tools, but I was like feeling pretty good about it. Then I openly asked a friend to let me know, or to give me some critique, positive, negative, whatever. And she did great. But I spiraled and I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm not going to do this. And I just want to be able to get back to enjoying myself and enjoying the process of doing art and not worrying about what other people are going to think and knowing that it probably isn't going to win. It probably isn't going to be the best one. Who cares? I obviously had so much joy 2 days ago and it flipped to the opposite. Today I wanted to lay on the couch and watch TV. It just spiraled me. And I'm watching that. I'm seeing it. And I'm sorry if my shares aren't paralleling this excerpt from Tara Brach's book exactly, but that's where I'm at today. And I just would love to be able to watch my brain and get out of the self-judgment a little more.
Yeah, no, I think it parallels it, and you did start judging yourself, and then you took in that input and really started spiraling
Mhm.
instead of just letting it be
Yeah.
his input.
Yeah.
Because that Kate is really important because we all do that. Is when we're really having a good time and enjoying ourselves, we can easily be waylaid.
Hmm.
And it's like, how do you manage not, if somebody waylays you, how to get back on track instead of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, what do I do? How do I turn that switch back? How do I pause this and not let yeah. So I'm struggling right now. So I didn't touch any art today, but I only have a couple more days left. We'll see.
yeah, please don't let her take your joy away, or don't let that take your joy away.
Hmm.
It, because you lit up talking about it.
Right, exactly. But I mean, I can relate to this reading otherwise in every day, every aspect of my fucking life. So excuse my language, but it's just I am just I woke up the other day so I in such awareness that I wasn't waking up in anxiety, because right now I'm at a pause from work, maybe retired, I don't know. I'm not going to shame myself for not working right now at such a young age, but I woke up and I had such relief of not having anxiety of meeting standards at work or a meeting or having to present something or talk at all because I didn't realize how much that grip had on me. Anyway, I pause. I want to hear you guys share.
No, I appreciate what you're sharing, because they're valid and they're real.
Yeah.
You're not the only one that has those feelings,
Yeah.
and that's what's good about this group because others can help relate or convey what they do or how to stop the spiraling down.
Mhm.
What do you think, Liz? I saw you shaking your head.
Well, I'm just, I posted the reading in the chat, so I was just looking at it again and, it really, this is a big one for me. I was actually just talking about this very thing last night about not wanting to, um, like hurt myself with my own thinking or limit myself with my own thinking and my beliefs. And one thing I really love about this reading is that she says, um, we can learn to recognize when we are keeping ourselves trapped. I like that. I think it's a very positive reading in that regard because I think we can learn, learn that. I can unlearn those voices that I learned that tell me I'm unworthy or not good enough or not this or that or whatever it may be. Um, and and I also really love the second paragraph where she said, by accepting absolutely everything. It's like not it's like try just being present. And she speaks to really, I think, how difficult that can be, especially if we're used to checking out, numbing out, doing whatever, but staying really present and aware in every moment, I think takes practice. And but so I like that. I like it that how she phrases it there. Um, yeah, and in a way, like, these critical voices or negative thoughts that I'll have about myself, that do keep me trapped. It's, um, like accepting those. It's like, yeah, okay, I had that thought. It's just a thought. It's not it's not true. It's literally just a thought and another one's going to come next and so on and so forth. But yeah, I don't know. I love this reading. I love every chance we get to read something by Tara Brach. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, getting back to what you're saying, it's like every thought is a thought, but we don't have to continue to make it a belief.
that's right. Yeah. Or identify with it. Or it's like a witnessing it. And like you said, Kate's just like letting it go. Like, okay, there's that, there's that thought again. Um,
Bored with it.
like carry on, you know, float away, go somewhere else. Um, but also like the other thing I really like about this is how she kind of asks to pay attention to our body and what we feel in our heart, um our present experience fully. I think she comes to that when she starts talking about radical acceptance. Um, because for me, that's a big um indicator for what's going on with me. It's like, how am I feeling in my body? Um, I feel anxiety in my body. I know exactly what that feels like, or if whatever it may be, my sensations that I have in my body are certainly telling me something about what I'm experiencing. And that has certainly taken me a lot of practice in recovery, for sure, to be able to do that. And that feelings wheel, I'm going to stop because I feel like I'm going on a little bit long, but that feelings wheel that we've talked about a number of times, and we did in this group as well, has been very helpful in that regard.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say
Yeah.
something, Janice. Um, I think our speaking mine, my brain used to make things very complicated. Things are not complicated anymore for me. And I still have to make the choice sometimes. It's like, do I want to live, or do I want to just constantly sit here and tell myself I'm not well, or tell myself I'm not doing this right, or it's like I just think there comes a point where you have to really fight that off and fight for the good in your life, the things that inspire you versus trying to defend yourself from the bad. There's a big difference in that. And that just takes you out of living in the pain. I don't know. It just, be grateful, fight for what's good in your life. Stay focused on that. I mean, I never journaled, and the reason I didn't journal is because I didn't want to stay in the story. I wanted to it was not like, I mean, it just wasn't me. But I think that's the biggest problem a lot of people face, is that they stay locked in the fact that they're on this healing journey instead of just choosing to live their life and know that every day is an adaptation to how you're going to feel, and to start the day the right way. And if you have some feelings, I mean, I don't think you have to sit there and feel them, that's just like whatever. But just live in the good and focus on all the positive things in your life, even when you're in pain, because you can always find something positive and always something to be grateful for. It doesn't matter. It's just where you choose to hold your energy. That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I like that, because I totally agree that it's what we focus on is our reality. And if you want to focus on, the positive and being in the moment and being in the experience, you're going to have a whole lot less suffering. I'm not saying you won't suffer at all, but you won't stay stuck in it.
Yeah, and just, I don't know, the simple thing of opening your eyes and just saying thank you, God, or whoever your higher power is, or being like, God, I'm so grateful my bed is this soft and cozy. I don't know. That's how I start my day. I don't let the tape play, because the tape will play when I'm driving if it wants to, especially over Loma Santa Fe, man. Coming down that hill, it's like, it starts chirping at me, and I was like, just to go away. Um, but I'm so grateful I have the ability to turn it off. Not always. I mean, I can stay in it. I can make a choice, but I'm just grateful I don't have to live in it anymore. The
Yeah.
repetitive, the repetitive bullshit that makes me feel horrible about myself. And then when I feel bad about myself, I fucking hate everybody. So it really, it doesn't work. I just have, I don't really care what other people think. I mean, if they're for me, then they'll stay with me and they'll show up for me. But if they're not for me, then everybody can live their own life. I don't know.
I love that, because that's freedom. What you're describing is the path that you've been on to get to freedom, because you're doing it, you're living it. It's not even, I mean, it's probably part of a practice, but you're actually living and
Yeah, it took, I mean, I still have all my little things that I do and I feel like I'm going this way or that way, but yeah, it's just not, it's like just, just having that ability to live instead of just caught, I'm just really grateful for it.
Well, I'm glad you're sharing it. Yeah. Because then you're not living in that tragedy that she talks about in the reading. It's not a tragedy how you're living your life, but a lot of people keep living in the tragedy or the pain and suffering. It's like,
I've spent enough time there.
I know. We all have.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that.
you're welcome.
Anybody else want to share? It's good reading.
I'll share. And there's so much of what you, Michelle, said and what everybody said, Kate and Liz said. I mean, I can pick up on so many of those thoughts and just run with them. I totally feel the same way. What jumped out at me, there's just one line that keeps jumping out at me about this reading, and it's so weird. And the line is, yet each day we listen to inner voices that keep our life small.
Mm-hmm.
I totally do that. I'm totally in my personal life, and we've talked about this last night, and I've talked about this with you, Janice, very afraid of anything. And I have this reflection of things to do, of keeping my life small, of limiting myself and what I'm doing. And I had this reflection that, well, my law career and feeling small is feeling unworthy, right? So my law career, I was not afraid. I'd be passionate. I didn't care what anybody thought, my life was, and I thought, and I was doing monumental laws, and like my life was big, um, and I was totally unhappy. And looking at that and saying, hey, when you're living your life every day and that is your life, why is it considered small? Why do you consider it small? Why is it unworthy? I mean, that is the path, that is the purpose. Why did I choose something to do with most of my life that I hate, that I hated in my personal life? I hate fucking confrontation. You know what there is in criminal law? Confrontation all the time. So it's just like, and I just feel like I compartmentalize my life. It was like this personal life, afraid, don't confront anybody. And then your professional life, oh, that's what you do. You confront people, you're badass, blah, 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 blah. And, I couldn't live with both of those lives. I could not live with that compartmentalization anymore. And I really have to, get around this idea that what I'm doing now is not small. I don't even want to say small, that it's not worthy, you know. So yeah, so I really like this reading in terms of that. I mean, it just touches on a lot of buttons of mine for sure. And made me think about my work and the dichotomy of the personal life and the professional life there. So that's what I have to say.
Love that. And I love that you're using the analogy of the big life and then the small life, but the big life was not making you happy, so that really wasn't much of a life. That was suffering. And if we look, yeah, like you said, I don't like the version of small, but just in the analogy, that's where life is, and it's rich and it's full, it's expansive. We just think of it as small.
And that's what I was thinking, Liz, when you said, I feel it in my body when this is, happening. And I'm like, I don't fucking feel it in my body. I feel it in my head, and that's called a thought. I've got to get away from that. So yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, this is all very, very useful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder if, I don't know, this just came to me because I really relate with what you were saying, Sarita. Like, oh, you were so big and important and whatever. And that feels like I can relate to that in my previous life where I felt like I was so identified with being a professor, and blah blah, right? And thinking, oh, I was doing great in the world and just helping all these people, blah blah blah. But it was grandiosity, it's like there's nothing about that was in reality, like in my mind and in my experience, it was just, I see it as really part of like my disordered beliefs and thinking, because it assumed I didn't have any value. It was only based on what I used to do, what I would do, and not actually me, because I really didn't feel any value for myself. And yeah, so thank you for bringing that up, because um yeah, it's always like a good reminder, that I think, that the big expanse, how we talked about one time about we are the Grand Canyon, that's maybe that's in our heart, our soul, our spirit. That's our essence. It's the big, beautiful, expansive um, part that we're not really seeing outwardly.
Exactly. And I love that. And like Kate said, we're all just a part of the one,
Yeah,
right?
interbeing,
Right.
yeah.
And it's just all, and it's so simple and it's all around us. And like Michelle
Yeah.
said, we make it so complicated,
Yes. Yes. It reminds me of reading that book at VKM, the Untethered Soul.
Oh, is
And
it then? Yeah.
Michael
Read
Singer,
that.
yeah, he always said in that book, like, oh, it's that simple. And I remember being in the group going like, who is this guy? There is nothing simple about this, but but that's the point, that it is
Well,
actually.
I think that's a very important thing that both you guys all of you are talking about is that we are the Grand Canyon, we are the ocean, we are the universe, we are all, and how much bigger can you get? It's
Yeah.
all.
And what a relief. It's like, to me, I have a sense of relief when I really am in that space of feeling that connected. It's like, whew, God,
But
that's
that's where freedom comes in. And if you don't have that space, then the outward world is what defines you and gets you high and keeps you from really being expansive, you know. Anyway, that I think it's important
yeah.
what you guys are talking about.
Sarah or Kristen, do you want to share? Do you have any thoughts?
Sure. Sorry, I keep moving around. My Wi-Fi is like just so choppy right now and it keeps like freezing. No, I really like the same line about that Sarita had mentioned too. That was the same thing that was popping out to me. And I mean, I've been doing a lot of work on myself, but then I'm like, oh yeah, it's never enough. And like, but you could be doing better. Um, and then focusing on outside things that aren't even and having that bombard my life and take away from like what I could be doing, right? And then but I'm grateful that I was able to like recognize how much that was like taking away from me and and acknowledge how I was feeling, but like I've been working on like really identifying like the feeling that I'm having and trying to like feel it, bless it, and let it go type of thing. So I'm not like holding on to it for so long. And like today it was, I did this class today and there were 11 other people there and we did introductions and they're all going around and everybody's like almost everybody had like some kind of connection to the company, like whether it be family member or like a good friend. And I found my brain started going to like, oh, well, this is pointless for me being here. Like these people are gonna like get the job. They're gonna like get placed before me because they have people that they know and yada, 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 right? But I was able to like check myself before I went like so far down, um, because like I am valuable. Like I am really good at that specific position, and I am passionate about it and I love helping people, find their new home because that's like super fun. I mean, it's a hard time when you have to move, it's already stressful. So, like, if you could come in and make something like something that's so stressful, less stressful for somebody, like, I enjoy doing that, So, it was nice to be able to like turn my mind around like that. But I have definitely just been like really seeing so much of my mind just going into those thoughts, and I've been doing a lot better like not staying in those because they make me freaking miserable, like they do, and I don't want to be miserable and like minimize what I'm able to do because my brain is just like going on, like just going on a tripping spree. So yeah, which has been good too with like my co-parenting, like I um I was able to get vulnerable with my daughter's dad and kind of like tell him like how my brain like a certain situation like this makes me think this way. And it was nice to be able to get vulnerable with him because it helped me realize like how much my brain trips in situations like that, so after that conversation, I've been able to identify when I'm starting to get those thoughts and go down that rabbit hole and like turn them around, right? Because
Yeah.
all it's going to do is close me up and not give the love that is needed for myself and to give to people, without holding back. So yeah, that's what I
Great,
got.
Sarah. Just like pause and listen to yourself. All the wonderful steps that you've done, and you're not choosing to suffer.
Yeah.
God, that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge win, Sarah. Oh my gosh.
Thanks. And
Huge
I hit
stuff.
6 months on Monday.
Wahoo!
But yeah, dude, it's really great. And it's also like, I've been trying to stay very grateful, for like the little things that like happen, and I'll just like realize it and I'll be like, oh, okay, thank you so much, and also like little things like acts of service, right? Because that like is empowering too, like traffic, right? I'm like, oh, this person wants to get over. Come on over, buddy. So it's definitely a lot better to live in that positive mindset versus that negative because it really does block so many opportunities.
Right
Yeah.
now,
So,
you're aware of it, so keep
yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
That's the path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kristen, do you want to share?
Sure. There's a couple parts I was looking at in this reading. The first one's the first line. Perhaps the biggest tragedy in our lives is that freedom is possible, yet we can pass our years trapped in the same old patterns. That's definitely what I have done. I've lived my life in the same old patterns instead of moving on, and that's kept me in a place I don't want to be. And then there's another part to the sentence. Yet each day we listen to inner voices that keep our life small. Yet my life is small in many ways, and that's a good thing. When my life revolves around my children and my work. Those are the two main things in my life. And this last really year has been a really hard time with my children. I had my first child when I was 19 years old. So since I was 19, I've had a child in my house. And I'm now 54. My children are 14 years apart. And my last child just went off to Japan for a few weeks for the summer, and then she'll go back to university. And having her gone has been, it's been really difficult because I don't know who I am if I'm not a mother. And that's what I've always been, as a mother. You know, when I was in college and people were going out and partying, you know, I was the one at home on Friday and Saturday nights working on papers. I didn't even know we had a football team until my senior year in college, which is horrible. And then I have my work, which is, it's small, it's mundane things, but at the same time, I'm a teacher and I teach up to 160 children a day. And so those small things are wildly important. The small mundane things that I do to get ready for my classes are huge. I've got these teenagers that rely on me, even if it's only just an hour a day. They rely on me. And so I think I often overlook the importance of my work. I get caught in the rut of the same old patterns and not looking at it for what it is. And I think I do the same thing with my children. I don't know how to get out of that one. I'm kind of stuck. Trying to find whatever it is that I'm trying to find so that my life is not stuck or trapped. But I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to be a person without my kids. I don't know what I am if I'm not a mom.
Well, you always be a mom. So but you're more than a mom. You're much more than a mom. And a mother has many facets. It's not just a mother.
Right,
A teacher has many facets. It's not just a teacher.
right,
So if you can expand how you hold that, you know, it's like, to me, a teacher and a mother are examples and connectors and fuel for love and abundance. I mean, there's so much to either of those roles that are so much more than that label.
right,
I mean, you can transfer all the skills of being a mother or a teacher to life, and it's abundant. You know, we just put it in a small envelope and think that that's who we are, or a box, instead of seeing the beauty of what you give to your students. You know, I was talking last night about this. It's like, a teacher is not what you give them academically, it's what you give them as far as connection. And that's true for your kids as well. It is no different. It's not what you pass on, it's what you experience with them, and
right,
what you get from that shared experience. You know,
right.
it's
Yeah,
bigger, Kristen,
yeah,
than how we compartmentalize and make things small again,
yeah,
you know, when they're expansive.
yeah. I mean, being a teacher, really, the academics is the least part of it.
Yes,
It's about community, because I can't reach them if I can't reach them.
right. But you can reach them because you've got that capacity. That's what makes you a good teacher, not being academically superb. Whether you are or you aren't is secondary. I mean, kids remember, and you know this, the connection they had, whether it was with their mother, it was with a teacher, a friend,
Yeah,
you know.
agree.
So it's just really important, if you can, to hold that. And that's the expansiveness. Because it's not small. We make it small in our heads by the small labels and the way we hold it and constrict it and confine it, you know.
Yeah,
'Cause it's so cool to just, to me, being a teacher, is one of the most profound things on earth. And I don't just mean in a classroom, I mean being a teacher, an example, a guide in life is to me the most profound thing ever, you know?
I know my teachers have been to me.
Yeah. You know, and each of you are teachers right here on this panel.
Yeah.
In a Zoom meeting. You're all guides to each other. You're all teachers. You're all examples. It's so much more than limiting it to some pretend role that somebody designed. Like, what is a mother? I mean, a mother is immense. A mother is all. A mother is the Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah.
But we like limit it to our children.
Yeah.
And that's just one aspect.
Yeah.
I hope that helps because it's true, you know, it's like, don't define yourself by what somebody else has defined, whatever these roles are. That's just garbage. I don't like roles. It limits us and it also, we judge ourselves because of them. Right? Anyway, I think it's a good reading. I'm glad that you guys uh, enjoyed it.
Yeah, great reading. Thank you.
Yeah. So do you guys feel complete? Do you have anything else you want to share? Because we've got a little time or.
I think that was a great reading too. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you guys just honor yourselves. Honor yourselves because you're amazing women. You know, you are the teachers or you wouldn't be here learning.
I appreciate it when you said that, Janice, because that is my experience of being in groups like this, is that I learn so much from everyone who joins, and yeah, I really love it. So thank you.
Yeah. To go into the world, be big.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
lucky. Out of the trance. Out of the
Yes,
trance.
out of the
Yeah.
trance.
Man,
All
go
right.
make it happen once a week at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, yes.
Live it. All right. Bye, you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye. Good
Bye.
night.